In Algebra 1, Section 1-4, we're solving two-step equations. So we're going to combine everything you learned in the prior sections, but now we're going to be doing more than one step per equation. The important thing is we're isolating. And when you're isolating, you have to start from the furthest and then move closer. So the key is to start from the farthest and move closer. Okay? So we're going to focus on the side of the variable, which is this side over here. Now the farthest friend from t is -2. Okay? So in order for me to get rid of -2, I have to do the opposite, which is I'm going to add 2. So I have to also add 2 to this side. This cancels out. Remember our chat, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other of this equal sign. Don't forget to bring that equal sign down. So I end up with just 5t here, because -2 plus 2 gives me 0. -32 plus 2 should give me a -30. Okay? And then now I'm focusing on how to get rid of my 5. Well, how is it being attached to t? It's being attached by multiplication. So the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 5, okay? This cancels out, leaving me with just t. Don't forget that equal sign. But what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So -30 divided by 5 gives me a -6. Right? And I can check by putting -6 in for t, multiplying it by 5, which gives me -30. Then I minus 2, which gives me a -32. So the equation is true. All right? The next one, again, I'm going to start from the furthest. Okay? Now, it looks like 5-4. Sometimes we get confused 5-4. It's not, we're not focusing on the side of the, on this equation where there's no variable. We're only focusing on this side. So according to this side, our variable is y. And the farthest thing from y is this, -3/4. So I have to add 3/4 to that, and this cancels out, because -3/4 plus 3/4 gives me 0. Okay? And what I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other, so I also have to add 3/4 to this. I bring down my equal sign. I end up with y over 8 equals 5 plus 3, which is 8, over 4. Okay? Now, I'm looking, and I have to isolate 8. Okay? I mean, y, by getting rid of 8. Well, it's being divided by 8, so the opposite of being divided by 8 is being multiplied by 8. This cancels out, leaving me with just y. Okay? And what I do to one side of the equal sign, I have to do to the other, so that means I have to multiply this by 8. And because of this, I'm going to put this over 1. Okay? And I'm going to multiply across. Gives me 64 over 4. I end up with 64 over 4 is 16. So y equals 16. Don't forget to circle your answers. All right, so let's try the same thing with 3. The farthest, we're dealing with r, which is on this side. It could be on either side, but in this case, it's on the left side. Doesn't mean it always has to be on the left side, just FYI. But the farthest from my r is +3/4, so just like this one, I'm going to subtract 3/4 to get rid of this. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other, so I also have to subtract 3/4 here. Now, in this case, I have to then change this into common denominator. So, in order for me to change this into common denominator, I have to turn this into, so just a quick review. I'm trying to turn 7/12 minus 3/4. Right? So in order for me to subtract, the denominator has to be the same. So I want to find the common denominator for 12 and 4, and both of them can go into 12. So since this is already 12, I'm going to carry this down. Okay? This is going to be minus, and then I want to turn this into 12. Well, if I want to change this into 12, I have to multiply it by 3. And I can do that. That's fine. It's just whatever I do to the bottom in a fraction in order to keep balance, just like the equations we've been dealing with, I have to do to the top. So then I have to multiply the top by 3 to keep an equivalent fraction. Because I can't just choose numbers or else there's no logic to it. So then this becomes 9. So then I end up with 7 over 12 minus 9 over 12. So this is the same thing as 9 over 12. And I know that because if I reduce 9 over 12, it should give me 3/4. So I haven't changed anything. I've just done it so that I can subtract, right? So I'm going to bring down the equal sign. 7 minus 9 gives me negative 2 over 12, right? And these cancel out, so I end up with 2/3 r. Okay? Now this one, from last section, we learned that when we're dealing with fractions, in order to get rid of a fraction from a variable, I just have to multiply it by its opposite. And the opposite of 2 over 3 is 3 over 2. This cancels out, leaving me with just r. I bring down that equal sign, but then what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So this I also have to multiply by 3 over 2. So then I have negative 2 divided by times 3, which is negative 6, and 12 times 2, which is 24. Okay? This reduces to negative 1 over 4. Now, number 4 has what we call like terms. So, basically, we have an 8x and a 5x. So because this is just x, it's not x squared, they're both the same, I can do 8 minus 5. 8 minus 5 gives me 3x, and everything else I bring down. I'm going to bring down the negative 21, I'm going to bring down the equal sign, and I'm going to bring down the negative 15. So I brought everything down except 8x minus 5x. Okay, 8 minus 5 gives me 3x. This is combining like terms. Right? Once I do that, then I just do what I've done here. I'm trying to isolate x in this case, and the farthest friend from x is negative 21. Right? So if that's negative 21, then that means I want to add, do the opposite of negative 21, and I want to add 21. This cancels out, giving me 3x, and I bring down that equal sign. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I also have to add 21 to this. So negative 15 plus 21 gives me a positive 6. Then I have to get rid of my 3. And since it's being multiplied to x, then I have to divide by 3, because the opposite of multiplication is division. And then what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm just left with x. Bring down this equal sign. 6 minus 3 is 2. This means if I put 2 in for here, I should still, and I work this out, I should get negative 15. Now the last one is a kind of a two-step process. I'm going to solve just like I would normally solve. Okay? So ignore this part real quick and just solve this equation. We're solving for a, okay, and the farthest friend from a is 0.2, positive 0.2. The opposite of positive 0.2 is negative 0.2. This cancels out, leaving me with just 4a equals, what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So if I subtract 0.2, I have to subtract 0.2 here, which gives me positive 4.8. Okay? Then I'm going to divide, because 4 is being multiplied by 8, now I have to divide by 4 in order to get a by itself. And what I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So 4.8 divided by 4 is 1.2. Okay? But what it's asking me to do is then take it and plug it in. So once I find A, then I'm going to plug it in for A minus 1. So this is going to be 1.2 minus 1, which gives me 0.2. So the solution for A is 1.2, but the solution for A minus 1 is 0.2. So this ultimately is my last answer. So you just break it down. I mean, it looks complicated at first, but if you just ignore this first part and solve it like we would here, then you can plug it into the equation they're asking for, then you should be just fine. It's like 2 problems in 1. So go ahead and write this down. Don't forget to remember that we're going to start from the farthest and then we're going to move closer to the variables in order to solve. And try page 36, numbers 5, 8, 18, and 21. Numbers 36, numbers 5, 8, 18, and 21. And I'll see you in class.